Hi everyone, this is Ryan from rockthedivine.com. Thank you so much for tuning in to my latest video. At the end of this video, I have a channeling I did a few minutes ago, and it's a channeled message for the collective from Archangel Michael. And I wanted to let you know, in the video, I mess up my words like 2 or 3 times. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, you mess up your words in every video. Well, let me explain this. Usually when I channel guidance, I'm much more articulate than I am in everyday life, and that's because the divine are channeling through me and they don't mess up their words. The reason my words sometimes get messed up channeling is because my mind is getting involved. I've gotten good at kicking my mind back out, but it does sometimes happen. So if you hear me hiccuping, it wasn't Archangel Michael hiccuping, it was my mind stepping in. And if I do it a lot, that means usually if I do it a lot, I just shut down the channeling altogether because I'm not in a place to be channeling. But anyway, no one asked that question, but I figured someone eventually will. So, okay, I have questions today from viewers, and let's get on with it. So the first one, I got asked, and I've been asked this many times in many different ways. How do you know that something bad isn't pretending to sound like something of the light? So, and this could be a really long answer. I could spend a whole video on this, so I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. There are beings that will pretend to act as false angels and false guides. The beauty of us being clairsentient beings is that while someone can pretend to be something, you will be able to sense that they're not. So it's no different than if you run into a guy at a bar or a girl at a bar and she's attractive and saying all the right things. You might still get a vibe like, God, I think they're kind of creepy though. Like, their eyes are kind of darty and they're getting too close to me and I'm uncomfortable. And then you get out of there. Sorry, I have cat hair on my face, I think. If you see me keep doing that. Story of my life, 3 cats, cat hair everywhere. Anyway, it's the same in spirit. So while a negative spirit could try to pretend to be something they're not, you'll start to feel that things don't feel right. They simply cannot mimic divine love and divine light. They just can't. They can pretend to look right, they can pretend to say the right things, but they just won't feel right. The other thing too is the little buggers just can't behave. So if you just give it a little bit of time, and usually by a little bit of time I mean minutes, they will start to get pushy and aggressive. They just can't help it. And that is a sign, because while your spirit guides and angels are here to assist and guide you, they will never tell you what to do, and they will never push you into doing something. They will answer any questions you have, and if something's really important, they might say, hey, don't cross that street or something. But other than that, your team is always going to hang back kind of until you seek them out for answers. A dark being or low level being will right away start telling you things to either upset you, make you paranoid, or start saying, do this, do that. That's a sign right away that you need to call in your angels and guides and set up more healthy boundaries with spirit. Okay. The second thing, so this isn't really a question, but I get asked this all the time when I'm giving readings or when I'm talking to friends and family, what have you. They'll say, hey, will you tell my spirit guides this? Hey, will you tell my angels this, or my grandmother this? You don't need me to tell your guides or the angels assisting you anything. You can talk to them, and they really wish you would talk to them. I'm totally happy that you get a hold of me so you can hear them more clearly. That's what I do. But you can talk to them. I don't have any special gifts communicating with spirit any differently than you communicating with spirit. So talk to your guides more. You might not be able to hear them initially in the same way I can, but that also took trust and faith and practice on my part, so you can get there. And the other thing is, they'll show you they're there in different ways. Ask for signs, ask for assistance, and talk to them. They would love it if you did. So the next question, I get very frustrated when I can't get an answer. How do I get past that? It can be really frustrating when you are new to your abilities and you're trying to receive information. And then if you get information wrong, it can really bog you down and you get more frustrated. It just becomes this vicious cycle. What I will say is that frustration literally shuts down your gifts. So it's very important to try to not get frustrated. It's very important to try to be patient with yourself and patient with spirit. They're trying to become your team members and help you and assist you. And when you're frustrated, it literally causes blocks in your system. So if you have all these channels that are coming in, like you have an angel channel, spirit channel, mediumship channel, on and on, when you get frustrated, it throws a block up into it, and then that information can't get in. What I tell people is when you feel you're getting frustrated, to take some deep breaths, focus on the center of your chest, maybe even reground yourself and try again, putting no pressure on yourself. If you feel like you just can't kick that frustration, it's best to close the session and go do something else and come back to it at a later point, because if you get too frustrated, there's just no coming back from it. So be patient with yourself, and know also, and I recently said this to a student, and you'll probably hear this, the student I'm talking about, you are going to be wrong sometimes, and that's okay. Like I told her, you are not gods. I'm not a god, and we are not going to be right all the time. So you need to get past the need to be right. The need to be right will block you. You are giving guidance from the divine, and that's all you're meant to do, is give what you get in the moment you get it. So those things will block you. Try not to put so much pressure on yourself. And sorry about my hair. I'm trying to grow it out. It looks crazy. I have a feeling the next few videos, everyone's going to be like, what the hell's going on with Ryan's hair? Sorry. What can I do if I think my house is haunted? Well, I guess it depends on what kind of haunting we're talking about. If you're talking about, sorry, the sun's coming in here. If you're talking about poltergeist type things, you have chairs being thrown against the wall and what have you, some crazy stuff, then you need to call in assistance. You need to call in the big guns, God, Archangel Michael, Archangel Gabriel, and you probably also need to seek some outside help from a medium, someone that's used to handling these type of hauntings. The good thing about those type of hauntings is they are very rare. And, I know I'm going to get stories below like, no, my friend had this happen, and no, I had this happen. Yeah, we've all had stuff happen, and sometimes it's crazy stuff. Sometimes stuff does move. It happens. But I'm talking about scary type of hauntings, poltergeist type things. Luckily, they're very, very rare in reality. So for the everyday kind of haunting, a lot of times you don't really need to be afraid of these things. It can be stuck energy. Sometimes what people think is a haunting is actually residual energy from something that happened long ago. So you might not actually have earthbound spirits in your house. It might just be the energy playing out a scene that happened years and years ago. You can do clearings on your house if you don't feel comfortable. If you feel your energy is being affected negatively, definitely do clearings. Definitely call on the angels to assist you. And, don't worry too much about it. Sometimes your place isn't actually haunted. There can sometimes be beings that are coming in and out. And if you don't worry too much about it, they'll go and you will barely notice they were there. Sometimes there's beings, they're earthbound spirits that are in the area, and they might kind of come in and out of your house. And if you don't want them there and you sense they're there, you can just be like, hey, this is my place. You need to keep on keeping on. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here type of thing. And a lot of times too, the area you're in could be haunted, so it's not actually your house that is. And in that sense, again, you can call in help, call in the angels to help clear away this energy and to give the earthbound spirit some assistance, because a lot of times when they decided to not cross over into the light, they're now very confused. They're not trying to scare anybody. They're just confused and they need help. And if you explain to them they are in fact deceased, and if they cross over, things will be so much better and easier for them, and there's no judgment at all, and have Archangel Michael come in with a divine white light column, that's all you need to do. But I would say don't worry too much about, like, we're spirits and we're living in a spirit filled world, and you're going to have those things, but usually it's nothing serious. Okay, so I love this question. Why, when I'm in the woods at night, do I often feel like something is watching me? And I don't know how to answer this and not scare you, because I'm laughing. I don't mean to scare anybody. I just think it's kind of funny. There's a few reasons that you feel like someone's watching you. One is the obvious. You are in a situation where everything around you is dark and kind of black, and you can't see very far, and it's very quiet, and so your senses are heightened, and you can hear every little creak and crack and noise, and it freaks you out because you don't know what it is. So that's the obvious. It's just being scared of the dark, basically, and we've all been scared of the dark. The other thing, though, is why you feel that things are watching you is because they are. There are lots and lots and lots and lots of things, and a lot of things that tend to hang out in the woods. And I don't mean bad things. I mean, there's a lot of good things that hang out in the woods too, but there's a lot of beings, and that is like 20 videos I would have to do of all the beings that exist that hang out in the woods. But you are being watched. And once again, you can sense it because it's quiet and it's dark and your senses are heightened. So, but don't worry about that either, nothing will get you. Let me see. Why do rundown houses or cabins often feel dark and haunted? The reason for that is because often earthbound spirits and spirits of other kinds like places where there's not people. They tend to collect in areas where there's not a lot of activity, and cabins are like that because people usually aren't in their cabins very much. In places that are run down, same thing, there's no one there, and so the energy, these beings will come in and sort of start to collect. I've noticed this whenever I go on a trip and I come back home, my house kind of feels off a little bit, and I quickly do, a 30-second clearing to kind of kick out whatever got in while I wasn't there. These spirits don't always want to be around other people, and they will look for places where there's not a lot of human activity. So that's the reason for that. I've heard mirrors are portals. Is this true? Yes, it is true. Now, don't go around throwing out all your mirrors, because your hair will look crazy and, your eyebrows will get out of control. We need mirrors. But I will say that they can be portals, and the best way to avoid any problems from them, I guess, is to not have them in certain places. And just one place I highly recommend not having a mirror is in your bedroom. At night when you go to sleep, you leave your body and you travel and go all kinds of places. And what happens is a lot of times when a mirror is facing you while you're sleeping, it can let in beings and earthbound spirits. They usually end up in your dream. And in your dream, you'll think you were just seeing people you didn't know and interacting with people you didn't know. And really, you're interacting with the spirits that have come through the mirror. I know that sounds trippy, but it's true. I was having this problem. I got rid of my mirror, problem stopped. So watch that. Mirrors in bedrooms are a big no-no because they are portals. And you can do things. You can ask Archangel Michael to shield the mirror with a divine white light or divine gold light, things of that sort. And that's why it's also important to do regular clearings in your house, because you're going to have mirrors and stuff maybe could be coming in and out. Again, don't worry too much about it. And if you're ever in a place where, if you're visiting someone and they have a mirror, you can't certainly move the mirror that's not in your house. But what you can do is take a towel or some sort of cover and put it over the mirror. And then your husband will think you're crazy, just like me. Oh, does anesthesia affect you spiritually? Yes, anesthesia does. Now, everyone, just like anything, is very different. I have friends who aren't affected too much by it. They love it. Me, it does a number on me. It really does a number. But whether you think it affects you negatively or not, it is. For some reason, anesthesia, and this is the reason you should try to have as few surgeries as possible and really take care of yourself, it's very separating to the spirit. And a lot of times, because of anesthesia, a lot of beings and entities can get into your energy. So that's why it's very important, if you do have to have surgery, to call in your protection angels and during the surgery, and then afterwards it's important to ground, center, call in your angels and guides and help clear out whatever got in. There's something, like I said, it's just very separating to the spirit. It's very hard. My assumption is because it's not only do beings get in, I think it's sort of, it's not death, but it's something like you're almost touching on it, like coma-like, sort of, for lack of better words. So yeah, try to have as few surgeries as possible and make sure you take care of yourself before and after the surgeries so your spirit and your energy is right. Okay, I've been rambling too long. We're going to do one more. So this was not about ghosts, but I have a lot of people that say in so many words that they keep attracting the same people or they keep attracting the same situation and they want to know why. And the short answer to that is that you are not learning your lesson. We're all here to learn lessons and we're tested at times. And if the universe feels that you are not learning the lesson, it will hand you the same lesson again. I have a good friend of mine that has dated numerous narcissists, and it's almost sort of a joke because you think, how could you find 7 to 8 narcissists? Like, think of all the people you've ever dated. Maybe you had 1 narcissist, but you didn't have 8. And she's such a lovely person, and I see that the problem is she hasn't learned her lesson with each one. So the universe loves you so much. It wants you to learn the lesson because it knows everything will be so much better if you do. They go, okay, you didn't get it that time. We're going to hand you another one. Maybe you'll get it this time. And they'll keep doing it because you have to learn your lesson so you can go up a level and learn a new lesson. So my advice to you is, if you feel that you keep experiencing the same things or the same people, you really need to look inward and ask yourself what mistakes you're making, what things you keep doing that you did before. We can't change other people, we can only change ourselves. And self-awareness is usually what is the answer to every mystery or question you have. So have some self-awareness, ask yourself why you're back in this position, and ask yourself what needs to change with you to get out of it. Much love to you, babes. The next thing you'll be hearing is my channeled message from Michael. Much love. Okay, we have Archangel Michael here. He is going to channel a message for you. I have no idea what message he's going to channel, but he's the one that stepped forward. Give me a moment, and the next words you hear will be coming right from Michael to you. Okay. Dear ones, we are so pleased to be with you today. We have asked the channel to step back for a little while so we could talk to you and explain what we are seeing that we feel needs to evolve, that we feel needs to change. We are wanting you to be more diligent in your pursuits, in the things that make you happy, in the things that keep pulling you along into the future. We do not want you comparing yourself to others. We do not want you seeking that which makes you feel well very temporarily. What we are wanting, dear ones, is you to begin to imagine your life how you feel it would most serve you. We want you to let go of what you think that means materialistically, because often material things have a way of making you feel better on the short term. While money is necessary and is needed in the world, it does not have to define you. And this is also where comparing comes back into play. As you can see, you get on your social media networks and you see what looks to be a perfect life. You see other people that seem to have more. Their car is bigger, their house is bigger, their makeup is more well done, their hair seems to grow long and luxurious without any effort. We want you to understand that this is a great illusion, and one that's a very calculated illusion. We want you to understand that these things are not defining that person, because as we've seen recently, people that are supposedly very happy often internally are not, and we are unaware of it until they are no longer with us by choice. We are hoping that you will stop comparing yourself to others, and you will start to feel fully enveloped by the individual that you are. You did not come here to be like anyone else. You came here to be very specifically you, and to radiate at a frequency that has your signature all over it. We do not understand the confusion of trying to mimic someone else and absorb someone else when you yourself are a light that shines so bright individually. We want you understanding that the first step that you can take today is a small one, but a very important one. And it is closing your laptop. It is getting off your phone. It is not continuing to look at others. We want you to start to create yours, not look at others. And if you choose to share that, so be it. We enjoy looking at you laughing and being out in nature and enjoying your children. But we don't want you concerned about the likes. We don't want you concerned about the comments. And we certainly don't want you concerned with what others are doing. We feel that this is bringing the collective lack. So everyone is coming from a place of lack. And then we wonder why the world is the way it is. It is time to start creating what you want and defining what success means to you. If you are completely and unapologetically happy, is that not successful? Dear ones, it is time to relinquish control of needing to appear a certain way publicly. All that matters is what is going on internally. And what we've found is you will be quite surprised that when you start focusing on the internal and focusing on what makes you happy, the external starts to look a lot better. I am Michael. I thank you for listening to us today. Much love, dear ones.